Hello again, everybody. I'm Ed Robinson, and this is another edition of Robinson Responds. I'm here to give you my thoughts on the Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday games, and also give you the latest on the situation with Matt Eberflus. But first, let's start off with the Black Friday game, and what a game it was. It was a rematch of last year's Christmas Day game as the Las Vegas Raiders square off against the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs would go on to win 19-17. So Kansas City goes to 11-1. They become the first team in the NFL to clinch a playoff spot. But this season has been very weird for Kansas City. Yes, they are the defending champions. Yes, they have won back-to-back Super Bowl championships, looking to do the inevitable, looking to do the three-peat. But they've won a lot of close games this year. The Chiefs have not had that knockout game. They have not had that game that has been that performance is like, wow, these are the Kansas City Chiefs. These are the Kansas City Chiefs that we're watching. Yes, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, he returned as well. So DeAndre Hopkins looked good. Defensively, Chris Jones had 2 sacks in the contest. George Karlaftis recorded a sack. But these Kansas City Chiefs, the last couple of years, the identity, well, as long as Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid together, we know that trio is been solid for a long time. It's going to be solid for a long time as long as those three are together, Mahomes, Kelce, and Reid. However, the last several years, Kansas City's identity has switched to defense. Steve Spagnuolo, we saw what he did last year, and of course, in the game and to win the Lombardi, to beat the 49ers, and what they've done this year, and what the proof is in the pudding. Chris Jones recorded 2 sacks. George Karlaftis recorded a sack. And Kansas City, again, they've won a lot of close games this year. Last week, they beat the Carolina Panthers in a surprisingly close game. Black Friday game, a rematch from last year's Christmas Day game, they beat the Raiders 19-17. This works in the regular season. This doesn't work in the playoffs. You have to have knockout games, and the Kansas City Chiefs just have not had a knockout game so far this year. They have not had that blow-away performance. However, Kansas City becomes the first team in the NFL this year to clinch a playoff berth. So we'll see what happens, but Kansas City, once we hit January, they can't play around with other teams like that because other teams are going to be hungry. And once January hits, it's a new season. A win, you stay alive. A loss, hey, get ready to book your trip to maybe Nassau or Cozumel or Cabo San Lucas or, I don't know, Montego Bay or somewhere like that. But the Kansas City Chiefs pulled off a close one, beating the Las Vegas Raiders 19-17 in the Black Friday game. We had our Thanksgiving games. We had the Green Bay Packers take on the Miami Dolphins. Green Bay beat Miami 30-17. The Packers continuing to get hot at the right time, playing great ball right now. Jordan Love playing at a high level. Josh Jacobs. We talk about Quan Barkley, and we also talk about Derrick Henry and how they've been difference makers and X factors for their respective teams this year. But Josh Jacobs has fallen he's really been under the radar this year, but Jacobs has done wonders for the Packer offense. When Jacobs gets going, Jordan Love is able to make plays in the passing game, and that's why you see other players like the tight end Tucker Kraft. That's why you see the wide receivers like Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. And also, you get to see Romeo Doubs when he's healthy. That's when you get to see those players make big plays. But the Packers, not just offensively, but defensively, they have been putting it together as of late. As for the Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa continues to struggle in cold weather games since he's been in the NFL. And since he's been in the NFL, since he's been the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, he remains winless in cold weather games. So I don't know if Tua, he has the deal with the Buffalo Bills, the New York Jets, and the New England Patriots in the AFC East, and those are cold weather cities, especially when we hit November going into early January. So, but Tua and the Dolphins, they continue to struggle in cold weather games, but the Packers were going to beat the Dolphins 30-17. We had the New York Giants go up against the Dallas Cowboys. So this game was basically a tale of which quarterback could move the ball down the field. And neither one of them could really get going, but played by Dallas and their defense, they were able to hold on to for them to beat the Giants 27-20. Cooper Rush played an effective game, had a touchdown pass. Drew Lock ran for his life really the whole game. He managed to get a rushing touchdown in this contest, but the New York Giants are basically in the sweepstakes to land Shedeur Sanders. So the Giants are just evaluating. They have a once-in-a-lifetime talent at wide receiver with Malik Neighbors. They've got two good running backs with Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Devin Singletary. They have a great offensive lineman with Andrew Thomas. It's just the quarterback position is just it's not there. And again, as I stated earlier, the New York Giants are now officially in the sweepstakes for Shedeur Sanders. But again, this was a matter of which quarterback could move the ball down the field the most. Cooper Rush was able to achieve that goal, and the Cowboys were able to beat the Giants 27-20. And we had a very good game and a very weird ending with the Chicago Bears going up against the Detroit Lions. The Lions would beat the Bears 23-20. So Jared Goff, he played a solid game, had an effective game, 2 touchdown passes. Caleb Williams had 3 touchdown passes in this contest. However, Caleb, in the final seconds of the game, for those of you that may be living under a rock, a sack, and it took him a while to get up, but as he eventually got up, a lot of time was wasted for the Bears to get to the hut to line up for position so they could possibly spike the ball and maybe take their final timeout. They didn't do that. Poor clock management. Williams throws a ball downfield, incomplete, intended for Rome Odunze. Game over with. Lions win. So, as a result of this, their now former head coach, Matt Eberflus, did not go over well with not only with Bears fans, but also with management as well, as the Chicago Bears have fired head coach Matt Eberflus. So during Eberflus's time with the team, 3 seasons as the head coach, his career head coaching record was 14 wins and 32 losses. And as I stated earlier, Eberflus's firing came after the team lost to Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. And Eberflus, he took a lot of criticism and was questioned for not taking the team's last time out in the game. And Eberflus becomes the first Bears head coach to be fired in the middle of the season. So a lot of takeaways from this game. Chicago fought very hard. Caleb Williams is there. Matt Eberflus just wasn't going to take him to the next level. So Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator, is now the interim head coach. We'll see what happens for the remainder of the year. You know, since Thomas has been since he's been the interim offensive coordinator, I should say, replacing Shane Waldron, who was also let go a couple of weeks ago, Caleb Williams, volume, numbers-wise, he has gotten better. They fell short in the overtime, losing to the Vikings and then losing a tough game to their rival Detroit Lions. So we'll see what happens with now Thomas Brown being the interim head coach. We'll see Caleb Williams as well as the Bears offense continue to increase their volume in terms of numbers and touchdowns and getting the ball down the field. But Chicago, they've lost way too many close games this year, a lot of it uncalled for, especially what happened against the Lions on Thursday night, well, specifically on Thanksgiving Day. And as for the Detroit Lions, yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs are the defending champions, but right now, in my opinion, the Detroit Lions are still the best team in the NFL. Just offensively, they have it together. They have a two-headed monster running tandem with Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. You've got awesome wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tim Patrick, Jameson Williams. You've got a great tight end with Sam Laporta. And defensively, Detroit is really putting it together. So, you know, Kansas City is still in the mix. They're always going to be in the mix. They're the defending champions. But Detroit really seems to have had it together as we approach the latter part of this NFL season. Chris Collinsworth once said that the NFL season starts between late November and early January. So between Thanksgiving and early January is when we really start to see teams really putting it together. And Detroit's had it together really since week one, and up until now, they really have it together. So again, that's the final score. Detroit beating Chicago 23-20. Matt Eberflus, no longer the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and Thomas Brown is now the interim head coach.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.